Hi, so in video 1324 what we did was the unboxing of this thing, which is the Elegoo Mars Pro 2 3D printer. It's a resin based printer and we talked a little bit about that. Now we're going to talk a little bit about setting it up. Now setting it up involves really three things. There's setting the actual machine up, which is pretty simple actually. You just have to level the bed plate. There's setting up the software, because there is a software requirement for it. And then there's something that perhaps doesn't get a lot of attention, and that is setting up the space where it's going to be. I have an expectation of this being an extremely useful tool, and I expect to use it a fair amount. So it needs its own space. It needs somewhere it's going to live, and somewhere that I can use it, and somewhere that it's not going to get a vase of flowers on the top and where I have to move everything around in order to use it, because that way it'd never get used. It'd be a pain in the neck to set up every time. So with something like that you're expecting to have a lot of use of, you really need to set up a space around it. Now, this stuff is stinky and not very good for you. So I've put mine next to my kilns. It's next to the kilns because there's pretty good ventilation by the kilns. It does have an integral ventilator sort of absorber, a carbon-based thing at the back there, but I figure that eventually that's going to wear out long before I want to replace it, and if anything does escape, then it needs a decent amount of ventilation. So it's got an area where it can be ventilated, it's got its own area where I won't set anything else. I'll set it up only once and then use it so I don't have to move things every time I want to use it. There's enough space around it as well for me to be able to walk around it, and there's space around it for me to be able to put stuff that I'm going to be using while I'm using the printer. So in the setup, also think about the space that it's going to be. I mean, don't put it underneath your bed, set a print going and stick your head over it for the next 8 hours, or you'll be a sorry boy. You want to have it in an area where you're going to have it relatively clean, relatively well ventilated, out of the sunlight, and more usable, that is, not cluttered up with stuff and stuff around it. I mean, it's a pretty little box, so it's going to be limited by what space you have available to how you can actually set that up. But setting it up includes setting up the space around it in order to be able to use it. So the manual has instructions on this actually, and it's pretty good. But if we take the top off, loosen these, take out the tank, everything's going to be covered with a protective film, so just remove that protective film from the bottom there, from the glass here, and from the screen of the control at the front. This is the footplate we're going to fit, and when it comes it's actually still quite tight, so remember to loosen it, because you obviously won't get it set if you just leave it tight. So you loosen off these so it'll wobble a bit, and then we can turn the machine on. And it'll go through its startup procedure. Now obviously we need space to put this thing on there, so we need to raise that arm. When the machine starts, you'll have 3 options on the front. You've got print, which is obvious, system, which is how to access the system. It doesn't tell you much, it's really just about changing the language, that kind of thing. And then tools. So if we hit tools, we can see there's an up and down arrow there marked manual. Hit that, and at the top you've got 0.1mm, 1mm and 10mm indicated. That's the height that will move by when you press the up or the down button. So if we press 10mm and the up button, and we can see that will raise it. 1, 4 presses of that raises it 100mm, which is plenty of room to get this thing on. Now I'm just following what it says in the manual, and the manual is really helpful, and what it suggests is a bit of paper. So you slide a bit of paper in there, and then you press the home key, and the home will press that plate down onto the piece of paper that we've just done. There we go. And now if we give that a slide, let it finish, then that's actually really quite tight, and it's a bit too tight. But now it's fixed level to this bed, we can tighten it up. And you tighten it up by pressing it down in the centre and then tightening up those screws with the front screw first and then the side screw, while keeping pressure with your hand on the bit of paper. Now if you give that a bit of a pull, it's locked in tight there, which is too much. So press the 0.1mm and up arrow. And that will raise it by 0.1 and we can test that, and it should have slight resistance for that piece of paper to be able to move underneath that plate. And when the piece of paper has that resistance on it, then we need to set that as the home position. So back arrow on it, and there's a tool there called set Z equals 0. Press that tool and then confirm. That's it. We have now leveled that to this. And that's pretty much all there is to the machine setup. Once you set up the machine, what we need to do is set up the software. So the software for this thing comes on this thumb drive that was in with the box. Now the software given is the slicer software and not the image generation content. It's just the slicer on here, and it's available on this thumb drive in Linux, Mac and Windows, which I think is pretty awesome. Anyway, let's go and have a look at it. As operating systems, I use Mac, Linux and Windows, and here we are on the Mac. When you insert the drive, you'll obviously get the drive there, no name. Double click on it, open it up, and you'll see that we've got a copy here of the user manual. They've provided you with a little bit of code for you to be able to print a model, and then we've got slicing software. So you open that folder, and you can see that the slicing software has been supplied for all 3 operating systems, which I thought was kind of cool. We have a quick look at the Windows system, and then there's an executable install there. So insert it into a Windows machine, double click on that, and follow the instructions to install your Chitterbox. Now if we have a look at the Mac OS system, then we've got a DMG, which is a disk image file. If we double click on the disk image file, then it will open that. There we go, and we have Chitterbox. To install it, you copy this into your applications folder. So we go to the applications folder, and all we have to do is drag and drop that into the application, and that's the application installed. Now we have a look at Launcher. We can see Chitterbox has been installed. Once we've installed it, it looks pretty much the same in whichever operating system you use. But this is slicer software. It's not the software that's used to create the object. It's the software that's used to translate the object file into a file that the printer can actually understand and create the slices that the printer needs in order to be able to print it. So the first thing you need to do is get an object in there. Now the object you can get obviously is something you can design yourself using design software, which is an entirely different topic, or you can shortcut that if you've never done anything on design software like me, and take something that somebody else has done in order for you to be able to use it. Now I'm sure you know about Thingiverse, and here it is. If you put Thingiverse in, you'll find that people have designed an awful lot of stuff. They're ready for 3D printing, and they're provided in something called STL files. Now clearly what I've done is put in the search term wind turbine, because I'm particularly interested in this mini vertical turbine that was created here. We click on that, then we can see that Hyperplane Mike has taken the trouble to create this mini turbine and do the files needed in order to be able to print that. And if we click down on thing files, we can see that there's a whole bunch of STL files there to create this mini turbine, and here they are. Now we're just going to download them all, and that will give us the STL files that we need then to take into Chitterbox. Once we've got our files, we can load the file. And once you've downloaded your STL file or created it and uploaded it into Chitterbox, then you're ready to do some manipulation with it to get it ready to print. So there we go. We've had a look at it out of the box. We've set up the area it's going to be working in. We've set up the machine itself, and we've set up the software. I mean, clearly the next thing to do is have an exploration of that software so we can work out how we're going to use it, and that's what we'll do in the next video. Then after that, we'll be doing some printing, and then we'll be doing some experimentation. I quite like to approach these things this way because this is something that I think I'll get a lot of use from. So it really isn't date night where the expectation is 3 rounds in a ring without a gum shield and some torn clothing. It really is a bit more of a candlelit affair because we're expecting this to do some marvellous work in the future. So we finished with the setup. Now we're going to look at the software and then we'll do a print. I hope you're enjoying the video series so far. Thank you very much for watching and please remember to like and subscribe.